Obama, Obama, Joe Biden, 2016, Obama, Joe Biden. Joe Biden should have come out on that stage with a PBR in his hand. What was up with that? Joe Biden, Hillary Warren, 2016. Oh, we're doing so good. America's on the right path. Obama, Obama. Oh, except for those drones. Oh, yeah, and the kill list. Oh, yeah, and that stupid stuff about cutting Social Security while still leaving the Bush-era tax cuts in. Obama, it's the best we can do. It's the best. It was the lesser of two evils. Right, Carol? Yeah. It was the lesser of two evils. But you know what, Carol? The lesser of two evils has won. Yay! 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 All right, yay, everybody. No, really. The best thing about this is Karl Rove freaking out about Ohio. Did you see that, Carol? Oh, it's a hoot. It might have been rehearsed, but who cares? Karl Rove was freaking out when they called Ohio on Fox News. I was at the Marriott last night, Carol, right? Not for the whole night. I was walking my neighbor's dog because I can't handle that. Until the results come in, the pundits are just idiots. Yeah, we had the sound down. You had the sound down? Yeah. Oh, that's the way to watch the pundits. You know, Carol, the best thing about this, you know Nate Silver, right? Nate Silver, 538, he had his own blog. He was a baseball stats guy. And if you go to my Twitter page, yeah, right down there, I linked to an article at Gawker about his career. And it's really neat to watch Nate Silver's rise. He started off as a baseball guy. 2008, he started making political predictions, and they were great. And now, he's just like dead on. But he's not the only one. Go to my Twitter page. There's other, Sam Wang at Princeton is just as good, if not better, than Nate Silver. But, you know, Nate Silver got the early press, and so he's the star. He's kind of cute, Carol. No, I didn't look at him. You didn't look at him? No, I just read the article. Did you know Nate Silver's gay? I did read that. Nate Silver's gay. Woohoo! Another gay monkey for the cause. So that's why the conservatives hate him, right? Because he's like, yeah, I like Obama, and you know what? He's going to win, and this is science. That will prove that. And, you know, he's right. But he's not the only one. He's not a genius. He's just an ordinary statistician who did things right. Here's the thing, Carol, that I love about this election. You ready? You ready? What was that? Something just came by. Woo! Those old drugs. They get stored in your fat, and then when you exercise too much, it gets released in your bloodstream. Or is that a government myth? I forget. So, what? I think it's a myth. What? What? Oh, everything's breathing. That doesn't look like breathing. That was pretty good breathing for someone who's never... I have not been trained at the College of Puppetry. I dropped out of the puppetry college. So, Carol, how many women are now going to be in the Senate? 20. Jesus criminy. Moses on a stick. Really? 20? How many years has it been since, like, the feminist movement started? And we're now, in 2012, finally getting up to 20 women in the Senate? One of the 5 women coming in this year was a Republican who beat out a Democrat. Still, 20 women in the Senate, finally. New high, yay. You know what the percentage of women in state legislative houses is, Carol? I don't know. Monkeys, what do you think? Across the country, what's the average percentage of women in state legislative houses? And no fair going to my Twitter page and finding out because I linked to it. What is it? Guess. Guess. 10%. Nah, it's like 23% across the country in state legislative houses. North Carolina is about right at this state and the national average. That's surprising. You think that's high? Yeah. She thinks that's high for North Carolina. Okay, so put up the one that talks about, oh, wait. We got the best news of the week. Best news of the week. You ready, Carol? Tammy. No. Carol thinks the best news of the week is that we got our first lesbian in the Senate. Carol, I cried. Seriously. I'm the most cynical mofo when it comes to politics you will ever meet. Cynical mofo is me. And at some point last night, I had this physical realization. You know what I mean? Not just a brain, the brain going, oh, well, I understand that. That makes a lot of sense. No. Your feet, your stomach, your hands, your heart. All of a sudden you have a physical realization. You know what I mean, right? When your body knows something, right? Am I talking to the wall here, Carol, or are they getting it? Your body, you felt it? Okay, that's, there's brain understanding. Oh yes, I understand this. It's like book learning, my grandma used to say. You have a lot of book learning, but you forget your head if it wasn't attached to your shoulders, she would say. Lovingly, because grandma was like that. But, there's brain knowledge. Yes, I completely get that. And then there's like this visceral, that's the word I'm looking for. Visceral. Your viscera is like your guts. Your visceral understanding of something, right? Anyway, last night at some point I viscerally understood, after growing up as a closeted gay kid in America, I viscerally understood that right now, last night, America just elected an open lesbian to the United States freaking Senate. That's just amazing. I cried. I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I was crying. I never cry, Carol. I make jokes at tragedy all the time. Wow, I just started, I was like, oh my God, this is just a milestone. So, let's look at what the gay victories last night, okay? Okay? Gay victories last night. Maine. Carol, did you know in 2009, Maine rejected marriage in a vote, gay marriage? Yep. See, a lot of people here, oh, Maine passed marriage equality. But in 2009, Maine rejected marriage equality. They did. And in 2012, Maine passed marriage equality. This is big because all the anti-gay marriage bigots, all they say over and over again is, well, you earn it in the courts. Not that there's anything wrong with that, right? Desegregation and the right of black people to be equal was earned in the courts. Nobody put that to a vote. It's despicable that we put this stuff to a vote. Basic equality. It's every time one of these things comes up on the ballot, it's disgusting, period.
Yeah, rights of the minority being voted on by the majority.
Carol, you didn't hear that? Did you hear that? Carol said rights of the minority voted on by the majority. No. That's what the courts are for. But the National Organization for Marriage, or whatever, NOM, is like making hay, has been making hay for years over, well, every time it's gone popular vote, they've lost. Who gives a crap? The Voting Rights Act of 1964 would have lost if you put that to a vote. Black people and white people intermarrying would have lost. You put that to a vote. So the voting thing is ridiculous. However, for the first time in U.S. history, yeah, we won at the ballot box, not just once. Maine, 2009, voted against gay marriage. Last night, voted for it. Maryland, voted for gay marriage. Washington State, popular vote. It's very close, but last we saw it was 51, 49, 52, 48, something like that. Gay marriage, yes. They haven't called it completely yet, I don't think, but it's close and it looks good. And in Minnesota, still illegal to gay marry, but they had a resolution, a proposition to ban gay marriage in the Constitution, so it can never be voted on, right? And that failed, unlike North Carolina. That failed. That's not all, Carol. That's what most people know. In New York, the National Organization for Marriage, the bigots, had a plan to repeal their gay marriage, and it hinged on the Republicans keeping control of the state Senate. Guess what? Democrats won the state Senate in New York. So much for NOM's plan to repeal gay marriage in New York. This has been huge, all over the country, monkeys. It's been huge. Huge, huge. Iowa, in 2008, there were 3 judges up for election who legalized gay marriage in Iowa in a court decision. 3 judges in Iowa got booted out by voters because of their gay marriage, just because of their vote for basic fundamental fairness in 2008. The fourth judge in that decision was up last night. Iowa kept it. This is huge. This is big. I don't know. Oh, yeah, Carol, there's that Troy, Michigan mayor, Janice Daniels, who was all against anti-bullying resolutions and called gay people queers, right? Mayor of Troy, Michigan. After 1 year in office, they started a recall campaign. Last night, she went down. Yep. I think this looks good for ENDA, Carol, the Employment Non-Discrimination Act at a federal level. Can't fire someone because they're lesbian, can't fire someone because they're gay. That's it. I don't even give a crap about gay marriage. I've said this before, Carol. Can I say it again? Screw gay marriage. Screw it. Stupid. Marriage should be dissolved. That's me. Sorry. It should be just a contract between people like any other contract. State sanction of marriage, stupid. Horrible. You want to go to a church and do it? Do it. State should not be involved. John Hood from the John Locke Foundation agrees with me on that. He does. Well, years ago. I don't know if his opinions changed, but he did. Screw gay marriage. We want employment non-discrimination. Can't fire someone in America because they're black. Can't fire someone in America because they're Christian or Jew or Muslim. Can't do it. It's against the federal law. You can still fire someone because they're gay or lesbian in America. Bull crap. That is what Kay Hagan should be working on. It's historic, monkeys. This is the next. We're not done. We're not even close to done. Okay. All right. Let's take a break and come back. Shall we? Historic. We got the first Hindu American, too, in Congress. Did you see that? That's great. And Bill O'Reilly's talking about, did you catch this Bill O'Reilly rant? The white establishment is now the minority. I mean, this is pure racism. Pure racism. The white establishment is now the minority. It's not a traditional America anymore. Carol, what does he mean? He means it's not just white he's talking about men, too. It's women, all these women coming in. Right? When he says it's not a traditional American, what is that? That's nothing but pure hate. Right? Traditional America is a nation of immigrants. End of story. That's traditional America. America turning brown is as solidly in the tradition of America as anything else. And here's Bill O'Reilly on a national TV network actually saying the white establishment is now the minority. It's not a traditional America anymore. And this is acceptable. What an ass. If you are worried about America turning brown, I offer you the words of the great sage Prince. Everybody just needs to screw each other until we're all the same color, and then this will all be done, right? That's a brilliant solution to this problem. But if you're worried about America turning brown, you are a serious problem. And you're a serious problem for the Republican Party. And they know that now. If the Latino vote, this is what I heard today, right? It may or may not be true, but what I have heard today, it's worth checking. I'll check it out, and we'll confirm it on Twitter. But what I heard today on the radio is that if Mitt Romney had won the percentage of the Latino vote that George Bush had won in his last election, that this election would have been very different. But the Latino vote was so turned off by the racism spewing out of the Republican Party, and the Republican Party, bigwigs know this. And the central people in the Republican Party, they look at the numbers, they see what's happening. And instead what we get is Bill O'Reilly stirring up the rage of the fringe that is against inclusion of these non-white people. And I'm sorry, whiteness is the problem, Carol. There's no such thing as whiteness. Whiteness is a construct. Who's white? It's not obvious. Are dark-skinned Italians white? Are Jews white? What is white? Are Greeks white? The fount of Western civilization? You put an average-looking Greek person in a racist Tea Party rally, and you're going to tell me that person's going to feel welcome? Maybe. Maybe not. What is whiteness? Anyway, you get that kind of stuff, and the Republicans at the top, they know this, but they need those Tea Party racists. Now, I'm not saying all Tea Party people are racist, but they need those Tea Party racists that are out there in order to win, they think. It's not enough. All right, so pot one, Carol. Oh, should we talk about let's talk about North Carolina, yeah. Pot one. There's all this excitement nationally, right? Everybody's like, yay, this is the most progressive election ever. I heard somebody say, or I read today, after work today, Carol, the most progressive election in the last 40 years.
Except North Carolina.
Except right here where we are. We are a major anomaly in this election, monkeys. North Carolina just took a huge, colossal turn to the right. We are going to have a disastrous next couple of years. Seriously. You've got a rubber stamp Republican governor, Pat McCrory, who's came from Duke Power. So we're going to get pro-fracking, no alternative energy stuff, everything that is not what we need to make the future of humanity better, right? Alternative energy at the smaller scale, at a smaller scale level. Not centralized corporate controlled energy, but alternative wind and solar and other kinds of energy where ordinary people can grow their own energy, basically, as much as possible, and use it locally and distribute it locally. That decentralized energy production is one of the things humanity is going to need in order to survive. Centralized corporate profit-driven energy production is what's killing us. It's choking us because the profits aren't there yet for them to change away from this global warming crap that they're doing. And at this point, they're all sitting there calculating, well, if the global warming goes up and the sea level rises, what's the profit on that? Well, we'll lose this much, but we can gain this much by drilling underneath the newly opened Arctic ice caps. And ultimately, global warming will be, it'll be a wash for us financially. And they'll say, go ahead and do it. Not realizing that adding more energy into the global system is going to create unpredictabilities that are going to create more superstorms and other stuff like this. More energy in the system means more unpredictability. But Duke Power, they're just looking at the short term, what's this quarter going to be, what's next quarter going to be, think about 5 years from now, maybe if you're lucky. Pat McCrory's going to, that's his agenda. Then we've got the social, the only word is really troglodyte. Republicans who are now in control of the House and Senate in North Carolina. There's no stopping them when they rubber stamp more anti-abortion stuff, more anti-gay stuff. Again, they're taking us backwards. They're taking us away from the direction of the future of humanity. I know that sounds pompous, Carol, but that's really what they're doing. North Carolina is in the hands of people that, as the rest of the country is slowly inching towards the open-ended, better, more just, more free future of humanity, in North Carolina, where we've got an energy company guy as governor who looks the other way. While he's not supposedly the worst social conservative, but he's going to look the other way when Paul Stam and Neil Hunt and all those guys start going after abortion and gay rights and any kind of basic equality, all that stuff. That's going to come pouring out of the legislature starting early next year. Pouring out. And we have to think, what are we going to do as North Carolina citizens? Last night, the biggest problem that happened, the biggest loss in North Carolina, the governor, Carol, what did I say 6 months ago? Dalton's going to lose.
Yeah, by a long shot.
And then I donated $25 to Dalton's campaign to absolve myself of any guilt. And then he asked me for more money. I was like, no, because you're freaking going to lose. I mean, all the polls are showing it. You have no name recognition. Bev Perdue left us in the lurch. And I've heard that there were more scandals coming if Bev Perdue stayed in. Just an accusation. I don't know if they're true or not. But I'm left wondering, without knowing whether they're true or not, why the hell a sitting incumbent governor would just leave office. I think Bev Perdue has a lot of explaining to do, and she owes all of North Carolina an apology for this awful, awful mess that we're now in. She didn't have the guts to stick out whatever scandals were going to come her way and fight to keep at least the governor with the veto power to stop the worst of the Paul Stam, Neil Hunt excesses, right? Although Neil Hunt seems to be a little bit reasonable about, God's stewardship of Earth and environmental issues. So maybe he'll have the brains to look past the easy money of fracking and look at the long-term problems. And they overestimate the reserves, Neil. They overestimate the reserves to make it sound better than it is. And if you look, Neil Hunt, at other places around the country, the reserves dry up faster than the initial projections. We're ruining groundwater, Neil, for short-term gain of a few specific companies and a few specific politicians. Neil Hunt, this is God talking to you. This is God testing you, Neil Hunt. I know you're a Christian. This is God testing you. Do you care about Earth, or do you care about your coffers, is the word, I think? Do you care about God's creation long term, or will you sacrifice basic? We're not even allowed to ask what's in the crap that they inject into the ground. It's a trade secret. That's bullcrap, Neil. Anyway, I'm sure it's hopeless to try to talk to Neil Hunt about fracking, but you do what you can. But the rest of us, we have to think about what we're going to do. The worst thing, let me say the worst thing, I didn't get to this, is the loss of the Supreme Court seat last night, the state Supreme Court seat. A ton of Citizens United money poured into North Carolina in the last month, a ton of it, all to make sure that they won, Newby won, the conservative won the open Supreme Court seat, or the Supreme Court seat that was up for grabs. And instead of someone who was a kind of center-left moderate, we got a right-wing conservative in that open Supreme Court seat. So anything that the legislature, controlled totally by these social rabid conservatives, does and is rubber stamped by Pat McCrory, now we don't even have the Supreme Court to kind of rein in the worst of it. North Carolina is really, I almost said the F word, Carol, effing screwed for the next couple of years. We have to come up with some plans. We have to be able to do something. We took a huge step backward in this state last night. We threw ourselves into the toilet last night. And watch, John Tedesco, who lost the race for state superintendent, when public policy polling was on the show about a month ago, Perry Woods was on the show, the local Democratic consultant. All his candidates lost at the state level because of gerrymandering. I mean, it was pretty much a lost cause, but seems to me. But Perry Woods pointed out that someone's going to give John Tedesco some kind of nice little gift of a position. Watch that John Tedesco get given given all these free things again and again and again. Somebody's trying to groom him. Every time voters get a chance to look at him, they're like, ew, right? But you know, watch, John Tedesco's gonna get something. All right, how much time we got, Carol?
45 seconds.
All right, 45 seconds. Can I just recommend this book? Can we show this one, Carol? Either one? Yeah. I learned about this through Boing Boing. I don't usually grab things immediately from Boing Boing's recommendation, but Kim Stanley Robinson's famous for his Mars trilogy. 25 seconds. This is set in the same universe, but I've never read the Mars trilogy. It's amazing. There's humans on Mercury, humans on the moons of Saturn, humans all over the universe. It's a great guided tour of our near future, and I recommend it highly. I'm only halfway through it. Can you see? I'm only halfway through it, but I recommend it's really freaking good. So